Marriage is an institution that is absolutely terrible for women. It is a garbage deal. Scientific and sociological data is in. This is not my opinion. A friend of mine said recently, if marriage benefited women, they would have taken it from us already. Right? Because they're taking away everything else that's good for women. Yes. But they're like, get married.
Yeah.
You should get married though.
Yeah.
Right? Married women do not live as long as single women. They do not earn as much money as single women. They are not as happy as single women. They are more likely to suffer from addiction than single women. They are more likely to commit suicide than single women. They are more likely to homicide than single women. They report themselves in every single way that you can measure sociological data for wellness as being less contented than single women. Married men, on the other hand, married to women, outperform single men by such a measure that it is perhaps the healthiest thing that a man can do is to get a woman to marry him. Married men live longer, they're healthier, they make more money, they advance more in their careers, they're more creative, they're less likely to commit suicide, they're less likely to homicide, they're less likely to in car accidents, in every single possible way. The best thing a man can do is to get married to a woman. The worst thing a woman can do, statistically speaking, is to get married to a man, because what happens is it's called the marriage benefit imbalance. Those imbalances are exactly equal, meaning the percentage of herself that a woman gives to a man, she loses and he gains. So she's literally giving her life to him.
Men don't need women. Women need men. Men could survive without women. If all the women disappeared tomorrow, men would be fine outside of reproduction. If tomorrow they made artificial wombs, what would they need a woman for? Who's a better companion, men or women? So men built the world. All the hard jobs are done by men. If men disappeared tomorrow, society would collapse. Men built the world that we complain about.
Arguably, one of the driving forces for men doing what they do is women.
What I'm saying is men could survive without women. Because men can be alone, women can't. Women are social beings, and men don't. You don't see women going out to the woods and just roughing it. That's a man thing.
How many of you have seen this video?
When feminists say they don't need men. You ready for this?
Okay.
When feminists say they don't need men, 96% of construction workers are men. 95% of electricians are men. 95% of plumbers are men. 98% of carpenters are men. 94% of HVAC technicians are men. 97% of mechanics are men. 96% of welders are men. 91% of truck drivers are men. And we know what the other 90%
Damn right, Marge.
Yeah. 97% of roofers are men. 95% of oil rig workers are men. 90% of machine operators are men. 85% of network engineers are men. 91% of mechanical engineers are men. 86% of civil engineers are men. 96% of firefighters are men. 85% of police officers are men. 80% of military personnel are men. 90% of pilots are men. 94% of train operators are men. 92% of forklift operators are men.
Wow.
These are some of the riskiest jobs in the world.
All right, so this is why we have more numbers of women than men on earth. Because men are more exposed to risk than any other thing on earth. Almost everything we use on earth. Almost everything. Name it. What is it? Name it. Almost everything are being built by men, controlled by men, maintained by men. And you still say you don't need man in your life? But let me know what you guys think on the comment section. And if this is your first time coming across my videos, don't forget to like and share for others to watch and learn. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.
So women are always coming into my DM just sounding emotional and crazy. And I always got to do a real video to put them in their place because the math don't be mathing. So this woman came into my DM and she was like, yeah, you talk all this stuff about women, but men are nothing but cheaters. Why would a woman want to be faithful to these men, especially these black men? All they do is cheat. First of all, stop right there. And let's look at the logic, because again, you're talking from a place of emotion. Who has more access to men or women? Women. Everybody knows that women have more access to than men. Women control, men control relationships. All right, let's stop there. Now that we have that logic, if women have more access to, who's probably doing the most cheating? women. What are we talking about? Y'all come on my platform and y'all DM me all this nonsense about men and talking about men. This is why we are where we are as modern women today, because we can never take accountability. We always want to point the finger. We never want to look in the mirror. It's women that's cheating more than men. All right, so I'm going to need y'all to change these narratives, okay?
So many of my girlfriends who are such catches, total package, it seems like there is a shortage of amazing men to match.
Okay, none of this is new information, but this has to be pushed back on. All of the legitimate content by men for men is always about men doing better. I get so much pushback from men when I tell men, hey, if you've given a woman the ick more than once or twice in the last year, you're the problem. And they push back. The point is legitimate content for men. We are trying to help men get to the gym. Yes, all women are hypergamous. Hypergamy is not a switch. It's not a choice. It's a instinct. Yes, most women have been promiscuous, and thus most women are not worth marriage. But don't get mad at women for that. You just make yourself the absolute best you can, including spirituality. I've yet to meet a man who is really about chasing excellence that doesn't find some form of spirituality where he is truly a better person at the end of the process. But the overwhelming majority of content by women for women has nothing to do with women doing better. It's all about blaming men. Now again, none of this is new information. We're bombarded daily with this propaganda, but it does need to be pushed back on. Because when a man tells another man, no, you shouldn't wife up the town bicycle, that's called hatred. But women go online and tell other women that men are by nature predators. All men are narcissists, and so on. And nobody bats an eye at that.
Right now, at this exact moment, Indian man is stealing your wife. And who can blame her for allowing that? Why are you, living in your mom's basement, afraid to buy your girlfriend a salad and calling her gold digger when you probably never seen gold in your life? And her Indian husband, he is gifting her golden bangles on random Tuesday. Of course, I can't speak for all Indian men, but I can clearly see why some foreigner women choose to marry them. They can be more generous, more romantic, more family-oriented. I know that we as women are getting fed up with those empty promises and hookup culture.
A single mother of one, a single mother of two, the more and more kids that you have and you're single, it gets even worse for you. Because now, bro, you start to date the bottom of the barrel people. You start to date the people that are literally just sitting on Tinder, just trying to like find a way to sleep with somebody. You're gonna find the person who has been through a divorce, 2 divorces, the person who has a child support, the person who's still on EBT, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying as a man, and if you're freaking like 22 to 32, like you shouldn't be on government programs. I'm not even gonna front to you.
Women that want a provider man really just want to marry their fathers. Like, bro, why aren't you getting bread out there? Why aren't you going to college? Why are you 19 trying to talk about how, oh, I want a provider man? How about you live life for a second? Can't think for yourself? Did God not give you a brain? Feminists do not fight for the right for women to just be submissive. That may be in bed, but that's besides the point. Those of you that are romanticizing your grandparents' lifestyle, understand, your grandma was probably getting her ass kicked by your granddad. You all want to marry your dad, like on some 40 type. Half of you probably watch incest porn. You guys are the reason why stepfather and stepdaughter are so popular.
Men have a bigger challenge in dating because it's not like they don't know that they're not ready for marriage and like wouldn't be able to provide the marriage that they necessarily want to a wife. It's like, I'll be there in like 3 or 5 years, but what am I supposed to do then? Not get laid that entire time? It's like, grow up, give me a break. I mean, ladies, it's sort of the contrast in a traditional sense, because when you're at a younger age in general, it's just like growing up, it's like, I'm just waiting for the best offer I can get from a man. And like, yeah, they'll swoop me up into their marriage, but it's like, I can't offer you a good deal yet because I don't have this shit figured out. It's like, of course, I just want to hook up and like, maybe men are non-committal because like they know they're not ready for marriage either.
People like to talk about this graph, hypergamy. Women have it easier because they get to date up. Is this actually the case though? Because I think this graph is misleading and below average looking women have it harder than below average looking men. Yes, the women still have way more options at this level compared to the men, but the way they're treated in that relationship is terrible. Oftentimes they're not even dating that guy, they're just hooking up with them, and then after the hookup occurs, they'll get treated terribly due to post-nut clarity. People don't understand that women crave emotional intimacy more on average, and this graph is only referring to the physical intimacy, which is what men want more, which is why it's focused on.
Modern women just get on here and talk about anything. Okay? There's a woman talking about married women, they commit homicide and all that other stuff. Lifespan and health. The claim that married women die younger and suffer more than single women is false. Public health data consistently shows that married women actually live longer and have lower death rates than unmarried women. Happiness and chores. The video does touch on a real issue. Married women often take on a much larger share of household chores and childcare than their husbands. While this unequal workload can cause stress and burnout, does not cause the extreme health risks and shorter lifespans claimed in the video. Okay, so I got curious and I said, so I noticed you said that in happiness and chores, married women often take on a much larger share of household chores and childcare than their husbands. Is there something that husbands take on a much larger share of that oftentimes women or wives or spouses or whatever don't? Yes, paid work and employment. Working hours. On average, married men spend more time engaged in paid labor, working at a job or business than married women. Breadwinning. While the income gap is closing rapidly and most households are dual income, statistics still show that husbands are more likely to be the primary financial earners in their family. Number 2, home maintenance and repairs, physical upkeep. Husbands generally take on a much larger share of the task related to maintaining the physical property. This includes home repairs, fixing appliances, and managing contractors. As far as vehicle maintenance, taking care of family cars, such as handling oil changes, mechanical repairs, and routine maintenance, is heavily skewed toward men in most households. Number 3, yard work and outdoor chores, lawn and exterior. According to the American Time Use Survey, men spend significantly more time on heavy outdoor chores, including lawn care, snow removal, and general exterior upkeep. The bottom line, while married women generally handle more of the daily repetitive indoor tasks like cooking, cleaning, and daily childcare, married men typically handle more of the paid working hours and the sporadic project-based physical tasks like mowing the lawn or fixing a broken pipe. It is worth noting that these divides are slowly shrinking as modern couples divide labor more evenly, but the statistical averages still clearly show these traditional patterns. And this is what I'm saying. Modern women keep on talking about what they're doing in the house. I want equal treatment. I want equal distribution of the labor and the chores. Okay, are you going to help me with this heavy workload outside? That's when the excuses start to roll in with these modern women. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not strong enough. Figure it out. If a man can't say, I don't know how to do the dishes, figure it out. I don't know how to wash the clothes, figure it out. What are all the medicines and things and whatever, whatnot for the child? You seem like you have a pretty good handle on that. I can come in and I'm still present for the child, but in different ways. Well, this is your child, so you need to know those things. No excuses. Okay, as a man, I have to step up and know those things. And as a woman, this is your house too. So you need to step up and know how to do these things. And you need to be an active participant in those things as well.
Women want old school traditional men, not realizing that we all evolved since then. Back in the day when men paid all the bills, women weren't even allowed to work. Y'all were basically slaves to your husbands back then. Now, today, women evolve, but guess what? Men also have the right to evolve as well. Back in them days that you trying to have men stuck in without evolution, women fought for y'all right to work and be free and be independent and be able to do for yourself without relying on a man. The matter is, we can't pick traditions and who should be and who shouldn't be, because back then women had to shut the f up and listen and submit. And if we really want to get technical, the traditional woman didn't have before marriage, right? So that meant when we got into this marriage, I got me a virgin that didn't have kids already. I'm going way back in tradition for this. But at the end of the day, we can't be biased on what we choose tradition to be, right? So we're not getting traditional women anymore neither. But understand this, that's completely okay. But we all evolved, right? So holding men to a traditional standard that women ain't coming with as well, it ain't right. Because these days, it's the most untraditional women talking about men having to provide everything and do all the old school that they not doing anymore. These days, when we get women that cooching us serve more customers than McDonald's, that don't listen, don't submit, and require a list of things that they can't provide themselves in the first place.
The female loneliness epidemic is here, and I'm here for it. This is what happens when you sit out here and you promote these pandering content creators who play to your hurt emotions, your bitterness, and your terrible experiences. So that way y'all get online and you spew, vitriol and hatred toward men because, you know what, you had some bad dealings with a couple of them. And now my timeline is filled up with women complaining about, where's all the good men at? Where are the men at for this? Where are the men at for that? Where's the men that want to go on dates? Where's the men that yearn? Where's the men that court? Where's the men that do da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And now my new timeline is filled up with, where's all the men at for the singles events? Where it's nothing but women at singles events. It's like 95% women at these singles events. What happened? Where's the men? The men listen. Y'all thought that making these videos go viral of these content creators who try to, pander and manipulate to your emotions and your bad experiences, you thought talking, bashing men was going to be fun. It was fun for the moment. It helped you feel good, right? But men paid attention to that. Realize a lot of you don't even like men. And now y'all got all these women out here begging, crying, where's all the men? Well, maybe you should hold women accountable.
The world is finally healing. Nasty men are finally losing. What am I talking about? There was a recent article by Psychology Today stating there is now a rise of lonely single men. But 3 of the key reasons for this is 1, relationship standards are increasing. 2, there are more men than women on dating apps, 64% more men. And 3, men are deficient when it comes to dating. One huge thing that the article states is that women are becoming less tolerable of men's poor communication skills and lack of emotional availability. This is leading many single men to stay single. What I'm seeing is women are no longer accepting the bare minimum and poor behavior that in the past women were told to tolerate, which means us women are finally leveling up, which should force men to seek therapy, which is literally what the article says, or we will remain single. What do you ladies think of this?
So Passport Bros wasn't born out of hate. Men just are tired of being disrespected and unappreciated, so they went where they could find their peace. So women are quick to say that men don't like strong women, but that's not true. Men can absolutely handle strength, but they just will not tolerate an attitude and drama. There's a big difference. So men just didn't start looking overseas for women. They are tired of being talked down to arguing and competing with women. They simply want cooperation, appreciation, respect, and peace. Like Kevin Samuel said, they want women that are fit, fine, and feminine, not combative. Fortunately, modern women went the route of making men feel like they gotta buy love. They turned dating into a big transaction, like what can you do for me and what can you pay for me? When men started pushing back that they wanted respect and peace, they got labeled as being weak and controlling. So guess what? Men solved their own problem. They started going to where women still understand the basics. How to speak life into a man, how to bring peace into his world, how to show gratitude. Some women look at that as being desperate, but men see it as being preservation. Men aren't crossing oceans because they hate you. You force them to cross because they're tired of fighting you. Ladies, please understand this. You can't demand the best out of a man and then give him your worst.
I believe that women are disproportionately destroying this country. And I also believe that it is enabled by weak men. So I want to be very clear. I'm not attacking women. I'm attacking both sexes. But we attack men, and rightly so, all the time for excessive aggression, predation, as we should, but we never ever criticize women for their errors, for their specific flaws, which are largely uncontrolled, uncontained emotion, which explodes and leaks out into horribly destructive areas, such as mutilation and hormonal castration of young children, most of whom are girls, and most of which is led by women. Women therapists, women teachers, women surgeons, women clinical directors, women politicians, women legislators. Even mothers in families are largely driving this, not men, not fathers. Of course, the fathers, they're just standing around letting it happen. So I'm not saying that they're guiltless or blameless, but I'm saying they're not stepping up. And we need strong, ethical men to stand up and to contain the excesses of what I would call toxic femininity.
Yes.
And we have lost that balance in our society. And if we don't get it back, we are gonna fall as a nation. We are already teetering. And we are very close to the precipice. So our problems today, we could say, the political divide, a lot of politics. Politics is a symptom of an underlying problem.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but let's stop normalizing hating men. The hypocrisy of feminism is insane. Women want men to pay for dates, but still bash men for not doing enough. Women want men to protect, provide, and pursue, but then mock masculinity and call those same qualities toxic when it doesn't benefit them. They want men to lead, but they don't want to submit. They expect traditional men while rejecting traditional values. Majority of women, including those who portray a trad wife lifestyle, are not actually traditional.
Only 18% of Gen Z women believe a wife should always obey her husband. So what that means is nearly half of young women say they want to be traditional wives, but when asked whether a wife should actually obey her husband, barely any of them agree. They want the label, the lifestyle, and the benefits of traditional marriage, but not the hierarchy that historically defines it.
You can't constantly shame men, then wonder where all the good men are. Respect in your relationship is so important because without respect, resentment starts to build. This is something a lot of women don't seem to understand, but respect isn't conditional, it's foundational. It isn't, if he does these things for me, then I'll respect him. You respect him because you chose to marry him, so you have to trust his discernment while understanding that you didn't marry someone perfect. You're not perfect, and neither is he. This is why having grace and growing together is so important and why you need Jesus at the center of your marriage. If you want to start taking your faith seriously and actually stick to your goals, whether it's prayer, fasting, or reading the Bible every day, then click the link in my bio and download the Refiner's Fire app.
So, hot take here, but hear me out. The reason why dating is actually broken is not because dating apps. It's because most men have become useless to most women. And no, this is not some far left feminist take. It's simply economics. If you think about the reason why women got married decades ago, sure, love was part of the reason, but the other reason was that they really had no other choice. The gender wage gap was substantial, and most high-paying careers were closed off to women. And that meant that if you wanted a good and comfortable life, you had to marry a man. It didn't matter if he was unattractive, didn't treat you well, had a bad personality. If he had a good job and put food on the table, this represented an upgrade to your life. Times have changed. Women no longer need men for economics. The gender wage gap has almost completely disappeared other than at the highest levels. For example, a male McKinsey consultant now makes the same exact salary as a female McKinsey consultant. That means that women can afford to be a lot more selective, and they're only going to choose a guy if a guy truly upgrades her life. And that bar to be able to upgrade her life is just substantially higher than it was before. That means that women can now afford to index for things like looks, height, emotional fulfillment, excitement, and all these things without worrying about, well, am I going to be poor if I remain single? The bottom line is being a nice guy who makes a good living is no longer enough. And invariably, there'll be a ton of men in the comments who criticize women for having too high of standards, saying that they're going to be miserable and die alone. But let's just make two things clear. First of all, it's men, not women, who suffer through a loneliness crisis. Women are usually a lot better at making friends and building a support network than we are. And second of all, if it's their cup of tea, it's a lot easier for women to find short-term companionship than it is for men. So maybe the tables have turned. Maybe it's men, not women, that should be worried about being alone. If that's something that we want to change, we have to become a person that upgrades a woman's life.
And, you had a guy talking about just the economics of women not really needing men anymore. Just basically saying, if a woman were at McKinsey, she'd probably be making the same thing as a man that were working at McKinsey, in the same position. makes sense. Deals with certain jobs and skills. So if you're doing the same amount of work, just makes sense. Don't have a problem with that. I think where things are getting mixed up is modern women, you talked about indexing for, I want a man to be this tall. So now we're getting into sort of things that are like sort of surface level. Well, let me pull back. Let's say, okay, you want a man that's this tall, okay? But you want him to be specific to you. Even if all of the men that were over 6 foot, making $250K, were fit and met your criteria, there's not enough of them because it's not a lot of men that are that tall, right? So a lot of men are saying, I want this, or excuse me, a lot of women are saying, I want this, and this. It doesn't really matter what you want. What men are saying is there's not even if I'm 5'8", okay? Even if I'm 5'8", and I go and get my master's degree, I go and elevate myself as much as I can. If modern women are still indexing, like he said, for height, I'm not even going to show up on their radar. They're going to be like, man, what's going on? Where are all the men at? But then they're going to be like, oh man, I had to take that height filter off, and I had to, find me a short king. He's actually average height. So they go into, he's 5'8", and I really didn't want that, so I'm settling. We're actually not settling. This man is capable. He's just a different height. You know what I mean? And he's still taller than you. The average man, if he's 5'8", 5'9", is still taller than the average woman at 5'4", 5'5". So he's still more than capable, and he's on your level. But the thing is, modern women continue to put down, instead of becoming partners, like actual partners with men, they think that they're superior to men, and they're actually not. Going back to his point about working at McKinsey, and I understand this. This is my field. I'm telling you, just because you can put a plan together doesn't mean that plan is going to work. There have been many plans where consultants, and no disrespect to any consultant, I'm just telling you, this has been my wheelhouse. You put a plan together and that thing don't work at all. Let's fix this, let's do da-da-da-da. And it does not work. Because it just don't work. And that's okay. You're not the smartest person in the room all the time. That person that's working in the field oftentimes has to come up. If you as a consultant are going to come in, the people in the field that you despise are going to give you the data that you need in order to make a decision. So they would have to give you that data in order for you to say, okay, here's the financials, here's what the ops are doing, here's what this field, this department, this thing over here is doing. Okay, based on that, let's make a decision. Why don't you try this? And then your decision is going to affect the people in the field. They gave you the data and the information that you needed. So y'all are working together as actual partners. But because you work in an office, you think that you're better than him. You're not. And that's what men keep on saying. Don't matter about no freaking economics and you making 100K. You still ain't better than him. You still need him in order to make that 100K. You don't have any data. If they give you trash data, you're going to make you're going to give them trash decisions. Let's go with this solution. That's a trash solution because I gave you trash data. Let's get back to work, boys.
So the reason why women claim that they can't find a man is because women are truthfully attracted to degenerate trash. So I know that this is counterintuitive to everything that you believe or that you have believed, but women are actually attracted to degenerate trash. So let's say she meets a guy who, has his shit together, is going somewhere in life, maybe even has a lot of money or real world status and real world success, especially amongst other men in, say, maybe like the corporate world. Sadly, that does absolutely nothing to make her feel anything. This is why you'll notice in, like, let's say high school and college, the dudes who were constantly throwing the parties, the dudes who were constantly doing the most drugs, the dudes who were always partying and never had any, like, life trajectory or purpose, these were the dudes who were banging not only most of the women, but the hottest women. What you have to understand is that it's not like these women just magically grew up and all of a sudden they changed what they're attracted to. No. Life circumstance changes as she ages, and her long-term security needs tend to kick in. But this is what you have to remember. She is still most attracted to the degenerate trash that she was when she was younger. So what you always have to remember is that with women, okay, the worse you are, okay, to them, bad equals arousing. And no matter how that makes you feel, no matter what your mom told you about being a good guy, or no matter what your dad told you, doesn't really matter. These are the cold hard facts you're going to have to realize. And any dude who's had his fair share of success with women, or has banged more than 10, 20 women, understands exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to learn, understand, and master the language of women at the highest level, check out what I made for you. It's in my bio. It's a gift. You'll love it.
I don't know if y'all are familiar with the baby girl who decided to drop down and do a split and then began to slightly twerk, graduating from high school, and they told her that they were not giving her her high school diploma. And she basically is saying that she was, profiled, and why can't she get her diploma? I'm gonna show y'all what she did.
I start breaking. I don't know where to go, young, rich, lost, and famous. I'm in love with Miss Lady, but I just can't take it. Every day I've been praying, I become
just tacky, Then she goes on to say that she was wrongfully profiled. And, for me, it's like it gets very difficult being a black woman and watching so many black women just not take accountability, watching so many black women just play victim. Black women love to try to make it like the world is against us, or, like we can't do anything, or everything we do is a big deal. And pretty sure in the comment section, you're going to see somebody say, well, the white girls do it and the white women do this. It's just not made a big deal. I don't think black women understand everything we do. We try to overdo. We overdo everything, and when it's not necessary. And for this baby to be graduating from high school and then saying, well, I told them I was going to do it, so they should have knew I wasn't playing, because if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And it's like, but why though? Why did you feel the need to do that? What type of attention were you looking for? You wanted a viral moment. Everything about this generation is based off likes, shares, attention, viral moments. But this is not really giving what you thought it was going to give, sweetheart. It was given very much tacky. It was given very much tasteless. And it's like, where is the class and the decorum? You come out doing a pretty little, you already pretty. You come out doing like a little wave, and then you bounce down. And that wasn't just a regular split. That was more like a, let me climb to the top of the pole and let me fall down and pop my booty up a couple times while I'm on the ground. Like, that was not. And then this is a high school graduation. These are people's families. There's grandmas, there's elders, there's your parents out there. Why would you want to do something like that in front of your people? And then you talking about they wouldn't give you your high school diploma. Man, if that had been something I done back when I was walking across the stage, not only would I have not gotten my high school diploma or lost my high school diploma, I would have lost the cap and gown too, because my mama would have been at the end of the stage waiting for me. She got escorted out. My mama would have dragged me out of there. Because shame was a thing back then. Y'all don't got no shame in y'all game. Y'all do too much. And I don't think y'all realize the stuff that y'all do it don't hit the way y'all think it do. It be looking so just tacky, man. I just don't be understanding why, when it comes to us black women, why do we feel like the only way for us to receive any type of an attention is from like our bodies? Everything is always overly with us and overly sexualized with us. The only way we know how to express ourselves is through our bodies. Why is that? I just need the young women of today to understand, man, presentation is everything. How you carry yourself is extremely important. A lot of y'all do things and then you don't realize there's consequences, and y'all don't realize that you will be judged for it. Y'all say things like, oh, you can't judge me. And no, it's God that's not going to judge you. But his children, they're very judgmental. And so you just got to be very mindful of how you're presenting yourself. Be very mindful of the way you're carrying yourself. Why is self-respect so boring to y'all? And I'm all for twerking if you with your girls. You know, you can get on a yacht, twerk, you know, hit you a girls trip, twerk. You got pajama day with your girls, twerk. You got the Galentine's, twerk. I mean, baby, I will definitely twerk when I'm with my homegirls. But it's a time and a place for everything. And I think the young generation, y'all lack knowing when's the time and when's the place for stuff. You know, there's a time and a place to go outside wearing bonnets without your face being washed and without your teeth being brushed. It's a time and a place to be on the phone extremely loud in public and everybody got to hear your conversation because I wish it's like a time and a place for all of that. And I don't know. It's like y'all be wanting attention so badly. And I think that y'all think y'all got to get it in a certain way. And it's usually in a very tacky way. So I just want young girls to be very aware of the way you present yourself, sweetheart. Because now this young girl, this is not, you're not really receiving the attention that you thought you would receive. And not only are you embarrassing, you just completely embarrassed your mom, your dad, your family. It's giving tacky, man. Y'all gotta, we've come a long ways from grace. We've fallen a long ways from grace, man. I don't know when we gonna pick that grace back up as black women, but not taking accountability and playing victim is not gonna get us there.
One of the most common comments that I get when people watch my partner shaming or watch me call out bad behavior is, "This is why I'm done with dating." And I want to address this because, shoot, I did not mean for that to be the point of this channel. Don't get me wrong, I actually think being single is great. I think people who enjoy being single actually make the best partners, but one of the biggest reasons I started the whole Womansplaining Men to Women series was as a response to all of the anti-men echo chambers that I kept finding myself stuck in. It all started to really affect my anxiety and my depression because I started honestly believing that all men were like these horror stories I was seeing online. But at the end of the day, it's just not true. And so I wanted to start poking holes in those echo chambers. So if the whole reason I started making videos was to get women to stop saying men aren't worth it, the last thing I want men's takeaway to be from my videos is women aren't worth it. Dating isn't worth it. Love isn't worth it. It is! Look, since I've started, I've made generously 500 videos. Even if every single one of those videos was about a woman engaging in bad behavior, which they're not, that's still a very marginal, tiny population that does not represent all women. Look, I don't have the numbers on this and I don't have a way of conventionally proving it to you, but I honestly believe that most men and most women are good people who care about other people and improving themselves. It's just that the ones who don't are very, very loud. I just wanted to remind you of that as you continue interneting because I was poisoned and it was not good. Do not let yourself get poisoned too.
I don't like when dudes get on the internet and get mad at women for wanting men with money. Like, what is she supposed to want to struggle? Like, I don't understand. Now, I don't believe that that should be the beginning and end of a woman's list. Like, oh, he got to have money, because then that means that you're for sale. Any dude with money can have you. But should she want a comfortable life? Absolutely. Like, women never wanted the struggle. From the beginning of time, women have always wanted a comfortable life. So getting on the internet and shaming women for wanting men with money is a little backwards to me. That's like the same thing. That's like if women got on the internet and shamed men for wanting beautiful women. Like, that would sound crazy to you. If women got on the internet and just started shaming men for wanting beautiful women, that'd sound insane. That's how crazy some of y'all dudes sound when y'all get on the internet and get mad at women for wanting a comfortable life. Now, again, like I said, I don't think that should be the end all be all. I think there should be room for everything else. But if y'all are gonna act like women are not supposed to want a comfortable life, like women are not supposed to be attracted to providers, women are not supposed to be attracted to just security, then I don't even know what planet you're living in. And there was a guy talking about, women are supposed to want men with money. You guys are getting online shaming women for wanting a comfortable life. We're not talking about comfortable. We're talking about extravagant. We're talking about abundant. I don't know why this is not computing. We're talking about a woman that says, if he's not making 250K, I don't want him. If he's not making 150K, I don't want it. The man has to drive this certain type of car. He has to have this certain type of house. When he really doesn't. What you're asking for is not comfort. You're asking for extravagant. I want to be able to go out on a yacht whenever I want to. I want to be able to go to this super expensive restaurant that this celebrity went to, so I can post it on my Instagram. People can look at me and see what I'm doing and ask questions about that. I want to be able to live in this type of house in this exclusive neighborhood that regular common folk can't get into. But I'm regular and I'm common folk. So who is she? What is she doing? What kind of connections does she have? We're not talking about regular run-of-the-mill comfort where my bills are paid. We can take a vacation probably a couple times, 2 or 3 times a year, and that for a lot of people, 2 or 3 times a year is fantastic. I got a nice car. It might not be a Beamer or a Benz, but it's a nice car. It's dependable. It's safe. It's loaded. It's got the upgrades, whatever the upgrades come with on the car, the highest trim level. It's got that. We're talking about extravagant, abundant, over and above what you actually need. That's well past comfort.
A grown man has commented that he's proud to say that he has never approached a woman.
Okay, so what exactly is wrong with that?
I honestly was not expecting this. I seem to have collected all of the incels in my comment.
Because they've never voluntarily approached a woman, that automatically makes them an incel? I don't think they know what the definition of an incel actually is.
Guys, welcome, but this is not a safe space for you.
And I could say the very same thing.
784 people liked this comment. What the is going on? Almost 800 men sat there, liked this, and said, yeah, same.
I keep telling a lot of those ladies out there that some men are simply not interested in dating. Yet somehow some of you find that really hard to believe.
As if this is something to be proud of.
Oh, I wonder how they're going to try to shame men for their choices today.
The male loneliness epidemic, honestly, is not bad enough. And you've only got yourself to blame for this.
What? How exactly does that make sense in context with that statement?
I made a video that went viral about respectfully approaching a woman on the street, as one does when you want to meet someone new. Got 100,000 views and thousands of incels in the comments.
As someone in The Princess Bride once said, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Some of the comments went like, I don't want to be arrested. How do you approach a woman that you're scared to be arrested? I think that's a you problem.
They're just listening to the thousands of women that have told men to leave them alone. So why would they approach?
Proudly never approached anyone. Yikes.
What's with the yikes? Another word that I don't think they know what it means. Because if a man chooses not to approach a woman, that means he's choosing not to be in a relationship with anyone or even attempt to be. And yeah, that does not make them an incel. Try looking up the definition of words before using them.
I've noticed the men who are most bothered by the idea of having to pay for dates view investment as something transactional that they want to return.
I feel like this is a very interesting weaponization of certain verbiage to kind of try to push this narrative, because women who don't want to pay for dates, ask them why they don't want to pay for dates. Regardless of whether or not they claim gender roles, it's like, why do you think a man is supposed to do this for you? And it's like, he's supposed to show interest, show investment. Okay, I hear you. And it's like, so if this man did not show this interest, if he did not show this investment, that would be a problem for you, right? Most who have that mindset would say, yes, that would be a problem, okay? Now, what do you think this man would like? Ideally, he would like to know that there's interest/investment in him, right? Like, that just makes sense. So it's like, you as a woman who expects men to pay for dates, how are you showing your investment? And sure, you can call that transactional to kind of make it sound like men are dehumanizing these interactions with women, when in reality, it's just as simple as both people want investment and interest to be shown in them. So it's like, if you're genuinely expecting a man to pay for all or even most dates, what investment, what level of interest is he seeing in you? How are you depicting that? Your time, the same thing that he's already giving you. And again, like, she mentioned bedroom athletics, but it's like, okay, again, that's something he's also giving you. It's like, people use this word transactional to kind of make it sound like these men are like these evil figures, again, like dehumanizing the situation. But in reality, just anybody, man, woman, non-binary, wants to feel equally yoked with the person that they are talking to romantically. And it's funny because you hear women talk about like this emotionally all the time, where they're emotionally just giving and giving and giving to a situation and not really getting anything in return. Are we going to call that transactional, that they want someone to pour into them emotionally too? No, we're not going to use that verbiage to describe that. It's like, you want to be on equal footing, you want to have an equal power dynamic. So again, y'all know I could talk about this for ages, but it's just big picture. It's so funny when I see like women get on here and talk about like, oh yeah, men don't want to pay for this reason. And it's so ridiculous. When it's also like, people, I don't know about her specifically, but a lot of women who make those takes also don't want to pay. And it's like, it just never crosses their mind where it's like, oh, maybe they don't want to pay for the same reason I don't want to pay. Because, you know, we're all human beings and everything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is that, like, did what I say just make sense? Like, I feel like it made a lot of sense, but I know how, like, some of y'all get sometimes. So, like, just let me know.
Men don't like women. They like the idea of femininity. They like how women make them feel about themselves, especially in the eyes of other men. What majority of them seeking is validation from other men. That's why they like trophy wives, trophy girlfriends. You can see in real life how they treat invisible women they do not find useful or attractive. That's why they want children even though they are terrible fathers. To them, it's nothing more than a pass, a proof of social status that they made it in the patriarchal system. I know a few guys, right? They only date a very specific type of woman. Mind you, these guys are very different in personality, background, life experience, yet the women they date, I'm talking about that kind of look, physique, are exactly the same. And they would complain how superficial, shallow these women are, and the next time you see him with a new woman, she's still exactly the same. Because being with a woman like that is collectively agreed by all men that you have made it in the patriarchal system. They love the idea of femininity, not women herself. And in the patriarchal narrative, femininity often means gentle, caring, understandably, preferably adoring him, something designed to serve the male ego. That's why when women step outside the traditional narratives, when she starts to express her feelings, boundaries, ambitions, desires, a lot of men feel unsettled or even threatened, because they struggle to see women as a complete, equal, real, complex, individual human being.
And what you want to do as a woman is exactly what a man is doing. But yeah, don't chase him. Don't chase him, right? Because I know this one girl that I'm really close with, right? And she chases a guy and she's getting like amazing results. Like she's hanging out with her man like multiple days a week. They're going on dinners. They're going on trips. They're going to the beach. Like they're having an amazing time because she's going after him. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? She's getting amazing results from going after a guy and he's giving her back tenfold. It's crazy. I think they're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend someday, but that's gross, right? You don't want results. No, you don't want results. Do not chase a man. Do not chase him. Matter of fact, pull back as much as you can because he's going to love that. He's going to find that so attractive. Yeah, he's really going to love that, you know, because you're a strong woman.
Well, did you hear that? All of our dating problems have officially been solved. Thank you, sir, for the compelling dating advice. I'll be filing it directly under strategies I won't be using. He's hyping up this girl who's pursuing this guy, and his evidence is that they're going to dinner, they're taking trips, they're going to the beach, and he thinks they're going to be boyfriend and girlfriend someday. Let's be real. Any guy will happily accept a free, zero-effort, high-fun summer vacation if a woman is doing 100% of the work. It's convenient for him, but it doesn't mean he's invested. If your best evidence is, I think he'll commit eventually, you've already admitted the commitment isn't there yet. Sitting back, acting cold, and doing absolutely nothing will get you zero results. You want to give him the green light, show him warmth, let him know the door is open, but let him walk through it. Let him drive the car. Because if you have to chase him down, text first every single time, and create all the momentum, you're not being pursued. You're doing his job for him. And honestly, I can see why that idea would appeal to some men. If she's doing the pursuing, he's taking on less risk, facing less rejection, and investing less effort up front. That's a pretty comfortable position to be in, and that's a position I'm seeing more and more men take these days. Final verdict? Men, if you're looking for someone to chase you, you're shopping in the wrong aisle. This is the women's section. The men's section is over there.
We've been told that feminism is about women's rights, equality, and female empowerment. That's the lie they've told generations of women to make them think that they need feminism. What feminism actually aims to do is demonize masculinity and feminize men. It's about creating weak men. Look at all these men in Hollywood that young girls are being conditioned into thinking are masculine, like Harry Styles, Shawn Mendes, and Timothée Chalamet. Society wants to tell us that you should be attracted to these feminine, liberal men. Women choose these feminized men because they know they can have control over them and be in charge of the relationship because these men will allow that. But deep inside, women actually want the masculine man, not whatever this is. The problem is both men and women are being programmed with this 50-50 feminist mindset, which really just gives power over to the woman. It's not about equality. It's about rejecting God's order and reversing his design.
And one thing I'm gonna do is listen to women complain about their husbands on this app and any other platform. Because telling women to shut up unless they're going to leave is patriarchy's way of silencing women from having women share their lived experiences with other women so that those other women understand what real marriage is actually like. So we can stop romanticizing it. So we can actually shed light on the fact that so many women are unable to leave these horrible men. So that maybe it starts to shake the foundation of patriarchy and this idea that marriage is this end goal for all women. Whether you believe it or not, or whether you like to see it or not, those stories have a purpose and every woman needs to hear them and needs to see them. If you don't have the emotional capacity to hold space for it, that's one thing. But I'll be here, listening, watching, validating, and helping women find ways to live within their current situations instead of shaming and silencing them.
Why men have given up on women. Let's face it, the red pill community was not built overnight. As both a woman and a psychotherapist, my journey has been humbling to say the least. The number one reason that men have given up on women and on love is solely because the gap between men and women is getting larger and larger. With women, there's the movement of I don't need no man. And then with men, you have that movement of women are a liability. So in my practice, I try to teach clients how to close that gap. The truth is that relationships and genuine love is beautiful. And it's a really powerful achievement. Man or woman, let's face it, we need one another.
And you had a woman talking about, one thing I'm going to do is listen to women complain about their husbands. This is the type of inconsiderate nature of a modern woman. It's what men are talking about a lot of times. So you want the man to be closed mouthed and hushed when it comes to a woman's problems. Well, you got to understand, this and that. And you want to keep everything. You really don't want the man to say anything. But you definitely don't want the man having any sort of social media to complain about his wife. But you want to be able to get online and trash and bash your husband. And then when somebody says, hey, baby, you shouldn't be doing that, then you're talking to them about the patriarchy. Oh, they just want to silence women. You need to silence yourself and protect your relationship. And y'all are wondering why men move away from you and they don't be responding. Because I just heard you talking trash about me on the internet.